Siberia has been invaded by Huns, Mongols, and Manchus over the centuries. The man in green is one of the first Americans. But as drilling supervisor Dennis Mosier looks over a Russian rig in the West Beryagan oil field of Siberia, he assumes he'll soon be making history here.
We will be the first joint venture American-Soviet drilling company or exploration company to drill a well here. And I'll be one of the first Americans to drill an oil well in Siberia. That's great.
The symbol on his shirt tells why he is in the Soviet Union. It's the logo of White Knights, a Soviet-American joint venture with roots in Houston. White Knights are mythical heroes who aid those in trouble. The people of White Knights hope to help the faltering Soviet oil industry and make some money of their own in the process. They plan to do it by repairing old, non-producing wells and drilling new ones. Every barrel of oil the Americans can produce above a certain level, they will split with their Soviet partners and sell on the world market. The Soviet Union needs money if the restructuring of the country is to succeed. Until recently, that money came from oil exports. But with oil production declining, income has been declining too. So if this project succeeds, it could help perestroika get back on track. The Russians began producing oil in this region 15 years ago. For a while, output was abundant. But now this field is a metaphor for the problems gripping the entire Soviet Union. Poor management, shoddy maintenance, and 1950s technology are crippling production.
Oil fields are producing oil, I think, despite the efforts of the Soviets to prevent them from doing so. So the wells, when they're completed here in the Soviet Union, many of them do not produce at all. And those that do produce well below their natural capability because they have been damaged so badly by the drilling process.
Ben Morris is a production engineer originally from East Texas. One of his jobs here is to evaluate deteriorating Russian wells and improve their production. Like a doctor making a house call on a sick oil field, he moves from wellhead to wellhead recording their vital signs. Each stack of valves is the top of an oil well. About 1.5 miles below, each one is tapped into a reservoir. And each one exhibits a different kind of mismanagement or neglect. Bubbles rising through the oil here indicate this one needs maintenance. This one is producing dangerous flammable gas. These swirls of gray liquid show this one was drilled so poorly it might never produce. White Knights is bringing modern Western technology to the often obsolete Siberian oil patch. This wire has a sensor at its tip. As it's lowered down a non-producing well, it can yield information on how to make the well flow again. The equipment was brought in whole from the West. It's a small part of a broad, complicated, and expensive logistical network that had to be created to put White Knights in action.
We're going to have to bring in absolutely everything.
Geophysicist Terry Mulholland of Dallas.
There is such a lack of materials here that you even have to bring in a nail if you have to use a nail.
What you surely do not find here are Western-style communications. Soviet mail takes weeks. International phone calls are impossible from Siberia. White Knight solved that one by installing its own satellite communication system. Mulholland can fax his reports to Houston while that part of the world is still asleep. The White Knights themselves sleep at a place called the Agan Hotel, at least 2 to a room. These are luxury quarters here. They're even equipped with private bathrooms of a sort. Dinner time here is a minor miracle. T-bone steaks and French fries tonight, when much of the Soviet Union has trouble finding bread and butter. The food helps maintain morale in an environment which can be brutal. Not so much because of the cold or the living conditions, but because of the unrelenting Soviet bureaucracy. Byron Harris, Channel 8 News, Raduzhny, Siberia.